Yodelay. Hee-hoo.
When she left me through the summer and the fall, we had each other, that was all.
Hello, my fellow YouTubers and subscribers. Welcome back to my next movie review, where today I review the 1999 sequel to the 1995 animated film from Pixar, Toy Story 2. Toy Story 2. Oh, this is going to be fun. This is going to be a very easy review to do because there's not much that I don't like about this film. So the story of Toy Story 2 is as follows. When Woody is stolen by a toy collector, Buzz and his friends set out on a rescue mission to save Woody before he becomes a museum toy property with his Roundup gang, Jessie, Prospector, and Bullseye. Toy Story 2. This film is even better than the original, as someone would say. Oh my god, Toy Story 2. Wow. This film is amazing. It's a masterpiece in animation. I haven't got nothing bad to say about it. It really is a wonderful film. The writing is absolutely superb. The comedy in this film and the first one have me dying of laughter. So many scenes, in particular, Wheezy. It does aggravate my condition. As well as the Star Wars references. I'll never give in. You killed my father. No, Buzz. I am your father. No! So good. It's so freaking good. This is for Woody when you find him. Yes, well, I don't think it'll mean the same coming from me. I mean, those are just a handful of jokes that you get in this movie. But my god, you have to see it. See it to believe it, because it is just a fantastic film. As well as the comedy, the story is actually very strong. And if you look up the production history of Toy Story 2, you'll know that they had a lot of problems. The script is so good. It really deals with, once again, some very mature and very interesting themes. The first film tackled sort of abandonment and depression, especially with Buzz. This particular film tackles the theme of identity and belonging, sense of Woody having this dilemma of, where do I belong? Do I stay with Andy, or do I go with this new gang who I could live within a museum and be adored by the public for many years? It presents a very interesting dilemma, and from the perspective of the toys, if you put yourselves in their shoes, this really is an interesting dilemma, and the drama of this movie is all centered around Woody and his decision, and obviously his decisions may or may not change over the course of the movie. But that's the hook that really gets me into this film, is what will Woody decide to do, and how will Woody's attitude to Andy change after he has broke. The sort of inciting incident of the whole thing is Woody ripping his arm, realizing, oh, he's not necessarily a new toy anymore. Andy will lose interest in him if he's a broken toy. So again, it presents a very interesting dilemma, and I think Woody's choices here are very dramatic, and I think it really helps sell the film. As well as that, you've got the rescue mission. Like I said in the first review, the first film was such a great adventure. This is even bigger, and in some cases, bigger is better. I love the fact that all the side characters in the first film, like Slinky, Rex, Potato Head, Ham, they all get so much more to do in this film. They get involved in the adventure, which is brilliant. That is one thing I really like about this film. It allows us to get to know them more as characters, and it allows for such great comedy, especially when they run into the other Buzz, who is in Al's toy barn, who then ties up the real Buzz, and then we go through the delusion of Buzz again. I mean, it is slightly repetitive in that regard, but it's not lingered on too much, so it doesn't really affect the movie. If anything, it kind of adds to the comedy, because Buzz himself is like, oh my god, I can't believe this was me once. So yeah, it is interesting though how they do kind of recreate the same shot of the pan up towards Buzz as he first, well, the other Buzz, as he first reveals himself. And the gang have to cross several different obstacles here. They have crossed the road under cones, they have to deal with airport control and baggage handling, and they have to also deal with Zurg. Emperor Zurg is in this movie. Yes, Buzz Lightyear's famous arch nemesis, or well, the toy version anyway, is in this movie. And again, the comedy is fantastic. Like I said, the I am your father reference in Star Wars is hilarious. But the fight sequence that he has with the other Buzz, where Buzz tries to use his laser and Zurg pretends to get hit and go, oh! Again, the timing and the writing is just brilliant. Zurg is only in it very briefly. He's not featured very much, but I liked the fact that he was included and adds a little bit more context to the whole Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger backstory that is embedded in the toys. It seems to be that whenever a Buzz comes to life, they are born with this delusion that they are actually who they are. So interesting. Again, they don't really explore the sentient side of the toys, how they come to life. They don't really explore that. If you can forgive that, you'll love this movie. The new characters, I love Jessie. Jessie is fantastic in this film, and I know she's going to play a big part in the 5th film. Joan Cusack is not only hilarious, but she's also really quirky, really funny, and her backstory is really emotional. It really is it ties into the centerpiece of the movie. The When She Loved Me backstory relates to Woody's themes, you know, and the fact that she's been through heartbreak, she's been through the owner rejecting her, and then she's got this chance to be adored again in a different way. And that's what she's trying to tell Woody, is that maybe this approach isn't a bad thing. Maybe you should consider this, because it's heartbreaking when an owner eventually has to give up their toys and come of age. And again, this is really clever because it preludes the 3rd film, which will come later, although obviously at the time they didn't know when the 3rd was going to be released. It turned out to be 11 years later, but even so. And again, the whole thing of Andy is eventually going to grow up. He's eventually going to have to leave Woody. Woody will have to give him up at some point. And it's such a clever thing, because while it deals with its own themes, it is kind of giving the hint that you need to be prepared, Woody, because this won't last forever. Things don't last forever. And I like the fact that this film establishes that all good things must come to an end at some point. As for the prospector, Stinky Pete, voiced by Kelsey Grammer very well, I did feel that his reveal as a villain was a bit too late into the film. I think we should have seen him turn the TV on. I think we should have just known he was the villain from the beginning, because then his motivations may have had a bit more impact. It did feel a tad rushed, him kind of just revealing his motivations at the end, saying, you know, we have an eternity to spend together, and I'm not going to let you mess this up for me. I'm going to go to the museum and we're going to be adored by the public. And well, I mean, he doesn't say that, but you know what I mean. And then he's caught very abruptly in the airport. They don't have much of a standoff with him, and then he is captured, given to the little girl. So it's that aspect of the writing it's a tad rushed, I would say, but the rest of it is fantastic. And the character of Al, the the guy who runs the shop, who is desperate to collect Woody and use him as a collector's item to, well, gain more publicity, I guess, for his shop, but also, you know, to earn money from the Roundup gang, because he's got all the figures with him. Al is quite amusing, voiced by Wayne Knight. You know, he is kind of amusing. He's a very brief character in the narrative sense, but the moments that he does have are memorable. Like, he dresses up as a chicken, for God's sake. How can you not remember that? And the moment when he drives to work on a Saturday and he literally works across the road. Yeah, that's funny. I love that. The music of this film is wonderful. The score, I think, is actually even better than it is in the first one. And the way the film opens is phenomenal, with that video game sequence, which almost feels a bit like a Star Wars movie. There's some Star Wars references, as I've said. There's even some sound references to Star Wars. And the way the title appears in this film is very Star Wars-esque. So, you know, it doesn't get more referential than that. And I loved that whole video game opening. It's a real hook that draws you right in. And even if you'd never seen the first one, you would have been drawn right in. And the bloopers are fantastic. The fact they took the time to animate the bloopers in the credits, that in itself deserves brownie points. Bravo. That is just phenomenal. And they do use the Friend in Me song, although it's more in the finale than it is in the actual main body of the film, but it is still very relevant. And the animation is wow. I mean, in 4 years later after the first one, the textures are a little more detailed, a little more rendered. You can see the first one is a bit more blocky now, but even so, it's still aged very well. Considering this movie came out in 1999, you know, I think the way it's designed, the colors, the way it's lit, the textures, it's definitely an improvement. And the scale of this film is much bigger than the first one, and I think it really does. It does just go to show the effort and the leaps and bounds that went over the first one. And I love the first one. The finale of this film, apart from the Stinky Pete stuff, which is a bit anticlimactic, the actual adventurous aspect, going through the airport, looking through all the cases, chasing down the vehicle to find Jessie, you know, that is all brilliant. And then swinging on the aeroplane is just wonderful. It's incredible. So this movie is a phenomenal masterpiece, and it really is. It deals with so many great themes. It's heartfelt, it's emotional, it's hilarious. This is probably the funniest of the movies, I think. This is probably the one that makes me laugh the most. Oh, and Mrs. Potato Head, I forgot to mention her. She's a nice new addition. Although her and Bo don't get to do too much in this movie. I mean, Bo isn't even in the next one. We'll see Bo in number 4, and we'll get more of Mrs. Potato Head in the 3rd film, but it was still nice to see her and see a couple more smaller characters that were expanded into the 2nd film. So overall, this movie is just incredible. It's an incredible masterpiece, and I cannot let this review pass without giving it an easy 10 out of 10. Wonderful, bravo. I mean, just wow. how they so effortlessly topped the first one is beyond me. I mean, oh god, it is no wonder they want to continue this franchise. If the quality is this good every time, then yeah, sign me up. Obviously, after this movie, it was going to be a bit of a wait for the next one. We didn't know, actually. I mean, obviously they were working on other projects, but we didn't necessarily know why, and they didn't necessarily know when they were going to do Toy Story 3. It was always going to be in the pipeline, and then eventually towards the end of the noughties, they decided to do it, and in 2010 we got Toy Story 3, 11 years after this one. But in some ways that's very appropriate because of the story, and I will go into that when I review Toy Story 3. So thank you very much all for watching this review. What do you think of this film? Please comment down below and let me know. Stay tuned next time when I review Toy Story 3. Please hit the like and subscribe button, and until next time, I'm Pajak's Perspective. See ya. Bye for now.